The story of Lazarus and the rich man. The story has only two characters. One has got a name, Lazarus. The rich man has no name. Why so? The message of this gospel is in that point. Why the rich man has no name? Before that, let us remember all through the Gospel of St. Luke, you find this great reversal. Here you see in the story two scenes. One scene is on this earth, and the next one is beyond the grave. And you find the reversal. In the Gospel of Luke, we find this great reversal all the way through. Remember the Magnificat, Mary's song? The lowly are lifted up and the mighty are cast down. The hungry are fed. The hungry are fed. And those who are full, they go home empty. The rich become poor, and the poor become rich. The first becomes the last, and the last becomes first. Everything in the opposite direction. The values of the kingdom are diametrically opposite the values of this world. An upside-down kingdom, everything in the opposite way. Why so? There is some logic in that. Everything is my choice and your choice. The Lord has put everything in the opposite way so that you make up your mind, you choose, you decide, and you choose what you want. It's like those switches, electric switch, all in the opposition. You have to switch it on, turn it on. You decide. If you need it, turn it on. It was a cold in this morning, the heating was turned on. In the opposition, cold, death, misery, no joy. The other is joy, turn it on. Warmth, turn it on. Hope, turn it on. Heaven, turn it on. If you don't turn it on, it is hell, cold, death. Everything is entirely our choice. Heaven, earth, life, death, everything our choice. Now look at this rich man. Why he has no name? His name, identity, everything was about his wealth. He built his identity, his security, everything on his wealth. So he was certainly well known to the people because he was a rich man. So his identity, security, name and fame, everything based on his wealth. He had a name when he was on this earth. Based on his wealth. Lazarus means God is my help. That was his name. God is my help. So when he died, because his name and his identities, everything was God is my everything. He was God himself, carried him home to heaven. And the rich man stayed behind. His switch was off. He had no name. And Luke puts the story goes, the rich man also died and was buried. His story ended on this earth. What is the context of this story? The Lord is telling this story to Pharisees and Sadducees. People that time believed if somebody is rich, God has given him or her a favor, a blessing. A rich man means a blessed person. A poor man means curse, punishment, illness, punishment, poverty, punishment, wealth, riches, blessing. He must be a good person. Only the morally upright are rich. Only the morally upright are rich. This was the faith of the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the people of the time. Only the morally upright, the holy people, only they are rich because God gives them plenty, riches, wealth, everything. The poor, some punishment, curse. And there the Lord is turning everything the other way. It is the other way around. My dear friends, how do you define sin? Again, based on the identity of the rich man. How do you define sin? Sin is, the word in Greek is hamartia. Missing the target. It's an archery term. The bullseye. When you miss the bullseye, the Lord is the bullseye. If you don't hit the target, He is the foundation, the target, your aim, and everything around Him, everything with Him and for Him. And if you miss that target, you are into sin. Forget about the categories, venial, mortal. No. Forget about it. Understand this truth about sin. Whenever you miss the Lord, if Lord is not your foundation, you are into some kind of sin. Every sin happens because God is not your identity. If your career, if your money, your job, whatever is your foundation, your identity, and Lord is not the identity you have, He is not the foundation you have, then you are bound to get into the wrong things. It's a definition of Soren Kierkegaard. Sin is building your identity on anything but God. Simple definition, but everything in that line. Sin is building your identity on anything but God. If my life is not based on God, I am bound to get everything wrong, doing the wrong thing. He doesn't mean much only down the line, a footnote, then I am bound to get into all kind of sinful things because my identity, my foundation, my name is not based on God, something else. Now understand what is heaven and what is hell. The same language. Heaven is a choice you make, an identity you choose based on God alone, and that continues forever. Heaven is an identity, an address you choose based on God alone, and that continues forever. So if you choose heaven here, that heaven continues when you die. The same way, an identity that you choose based on anything besides God, that continues forever, is hell. Hope I am clear. An identity that is chosen based on anything else besides God, and that continues forever, is hell. If God is not there, it is hell. If the switch is off, it is cold, it is death, it is hell. If Lord is not there, it is misery. It is misery, no peace, no joy. It is hell. By the way, this moment, is it heaven or hell? For me and for you. Whatever you choose this moment, or whatever is your choice, that will continue when I die, when you die. In the case of the rich man, all his life was about himself, so self-absorbed. There's no implication he was a bad person, no. He was only that focused on his life and his wealth, and I have got everything to enjoy. Nobody else existed in his world. His whole identity, joy, peace, everything in his pocket, in his wealth. To close with this question, there's one word in the story. Abraham says to the rich man, there is a chasm between you and we here. There is a chasm, a big gap. The reason is when you were alive, there was a big chasm between you and somebody at your door. Lazarus is always at your door. May I say it again? I'm telling myself and you, Lazarus is always at your door. Never far away. Not in Africa, mind you, not in Africa or in those poor countries. No. Lazarus is always in your house. Before you cry about the poor in Africa or cry about the Lazarus at your own door, in your own house, under your own roof. Oh, Lazarus could be your wife or your husband. You can be so self-absorbed, you don't think about the people in your own house. May I say, the Lord brings Lazarus always to you. You don't need to go far away. You don't need to go searching for. You don't need to worry about the poor. The poor are always in your own house. Did Mother Teresa say, the poverty in your own house? The poor in your own house, the suffering in your own house, your husband, your wife, your parents, your children, or your neighbors. But the Lazarus is always never far away, always under your nose. Under your nose. So make sure you care for the Lazarus in your own house first. Charity begins at home. It's very easy to support a charity far away. Put some money, you feel happy. The other is difficult. The Lazarus at your door, in your own house. You sacrifice yourself for the Lazarus in your own house. You think about, you worry about, you cry about the Lazarus there. But that is a message here. Think about the one in your own house, at your door, or in your neighborhood. Then cry about the word. First about the Lazarus in your own house. In other words, create a little heaven in your own home first. If there is heaven in your house, you have saved half the world.